welcome to the Wartime MMA podcast. The Alex, Tony, and Mike. It's time to break down UFC Rio. It's in Rio or Sao Paulo?
Rio.
Okay. Olivera versus Gamrot. It's an okay kind of mid card, but the main event's solid. There's some decent cards up top, or decent fights up top. But yeah, without further ado, let's roll into our first prelim of the night, which is
Alex.
Olivera versus Luan Lacerda. Two bums. I honestly thought Luan Lacerda had already been cut, but I guess he's just inactive. He's went 0-2 in the UFC so far. I'm pretty sure Cody Stamann was one of them. And in that fight, it was honestly pretty close. Cody Stamann kind of won by being able to mix in the grappling, where he competed on the feet pretty well, too, with Lacerda. To be honest, I think both of those fighters, Cody Stamann, I think Cody Stamann would probably finish Simon Olivera, and that's saying something, because Cody Stamann really isn't all that. And I think Luan Lacerda, he had a reputation on the regionals for having really good striking. He didn't really show it as much in the UFC, but I think against Simon Olivera, it will look like that. Simon Olivera is old. He's chinny, not durable. He's not very tough. Yeah, I think he's going to lose. I see Lacerda as the better shit fighter. Maybe he picked up some things while in his time off, whereas Simon Olivera still recently looks as dog shit as he's ever looked. So I'm going to have to go Luan Lacerda. Might be a decision, but I'm going to say like second or third round body kick TKO. Lacerda.
Yeah, I got Luan Lacerda as well. I don't really think Simon Olivera's looked pretty good in his run. He's pretty shit. I don't really favor him, so I'm also gonna go with Luan Lacerda. Not really else to talk about. I think Luan's gonna get it done by TKO.
Yeah, we're gonna make it a clean sweep. Originally, I was not really too knowledgeable of either fighter. To be honest, between Lacerda or Olivera, I just knew that Olivera got murked in his last fight against David Martinez. But yeah, I'm gonna go with Lacerda. I think Alex and Mike said it for all the right reasons. I think he's just the better between the two of them. So I'll go with Luan Lacerda. I could see the finish, but I'll go with a decision. I just think he just showcases he's the better overall fighter. I'll go with Luan Lacerda decision.
Okay. Moving on to our next fight. It is Julia Pilastri versus Karolina Kowalkiewicz. This is tough. They're both women. Dog shit fight to be expected. Although at this point, I can't really rate Kowalkiewicz super highly. She does get through like the bottom of the barrel still at her old age. But Julia Pilastri is honestly, I think, just younger, fresher. I think Karolina Kowalkiewicz is more along the lines of the Corey McKenna in which she beat. And I think if Corey McKenna and Karolina Kowalkiewicz fought right now, I would pick Corey McKenna. I think Karolina Kowalkiewicz is just a bit too old. You know, they say MMA math doesn't work, but I feel like for women's fights it does for some reason. I think, if you can beat Corey McKenna, I think Corey McKenna would beat Kowalkiewicz. So I also think you would beat Kowalkiewicz type shit. Yeah, I don't really have too much more to say than that. Not a lot to say. I think she's just younger, better, fresher. I think they're around a similar level in skill. And when it's like that, which is almost every women's fight, unless you're got an extreme crafty advantage, which I don't think Karolina has, I think the younger fighter usually wins. So I'm going to go Pilastri, decision.
Yeah, I got Pilastri as well. Not really gonna say much about this. I got her by decision. I'll go with honestly, Karolina is not that bad of a fighter. She's pretty solid, and not like I said, she's not really that bad. She be getting she could be hanging in there sometimes, but I don't her age and stuff wouldn't really make me confident in picking her per se. I got I got the Brazilian girl by decision, like I said. I'll go 29-28 decision. Like I said, I think she'll put up a fight, but I think she'll lose.
Yeah, I think we're going to make it a clean sweep as well. The only thing I guess I can give Karolina Kowalkiewicz in this matchup is just the experience and the strength of schedule and competition overall. But she is the older fighter. I do think Palistri has more room for improvement, being the younger fighter, obviously. Not too much real further breakdown to go for here. We're in Brazilian. We got a lot of Brazilian fighters. I like to think a handful win. This is one I guess I'll go with. Yeah, I just think Palistri's just got more room to improve. Kowalkiewicz, we've kind of seen her peak. You don't get two primes in the sport. I'll go with the Palistri decision where she's able to defend takedowns and just be ahead on the striking, just be ahead on the points, footwork, every detail. She'll just have... It'll just look like Kowalkiewicz is just one step behind every exchange. So Palistri decision win. Clean sweep. Back-to-back clean sweeps start the card in Rio, going with two Brazilians.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Not gonna hear.
All right, cool. Yeah. Discord said my mic was not working for some reason, but I'm glad it is. Moving on to our first decent fight of the card, Walter Walker versus Mo Usman, heavyweight scrap. Not a hard prediction to make, to be honest, unless Walter Walker shows up morbidly obese. And I don't mind a Muhammad Usman underdog pick. We kind of talked about it before the call. Mo is better probably than Lucas Brzeski. So maybe if Walter shows up in a fat version of himself, there's a chance. But recently, Walter's looked almost unbeatable in heavyweight. His jiu-jitsu's looked amazing. The first almost ever heel hook master. I knew there was Husamir Palhares, but I think he was below heavyweight, if I'm not mistaken. I think he was middleweight. But you know, he showed it wasn't a fluke. He's gotten it multiple times in a row. And I think, like, these guys that he's beating now, like Kennedy Nzechukwu, are way better than Mo Usman. I think Mo Usman is more along the lines of, like, Dante Almays and people like that. And Justin, Junior Tafa. I don't think he's all that. And I don't think, just because your last name's Usman, you're going to be able to have a well-rounded game plan and wrestle and box. It's not going to happen. He did take the entire apothecary's worth of steroids, so take that into note. But truthfully, just not a good fighter. His footwork kind of reminds you of like I don't know, like a scared animal. like he's just pacing back and forth, like when people are walking him down, like scared, jittery footwork. Kind of weird to look at. And I think Walter Walker honestly probably has the advantage on the feet too. I could see him clinching and elbowing him and all sorts of stuff. I think Walter Walker takes him out in one. I'm going to say heel hook. Why not? He's done it several times already recently. So I'm going to go Walter Walker, heel hook, round one.
There we go. Yeah, I agree with Alex. I'm going to go with Walter Walker as well. I think it should be a pretty night for him. Fucking... What's his name's not really that good, but who knows? Anything could happen. It's fucking blob heavyweight MMA at the end of the day. But nothing in Muhammad's game makes me want to pick him. Like, he's kind of dog shit. He kind of looks like a scared gazelle when he boxes. His shit is ass. Nothing really good. He goes to close decisions with fatter people like himself. So don't really I don't know. I just can't really pick him. I'm gonna go with Walter Walker as well. I don't know what method though. I think he could sub him with the heel hook, but I feel like at this point, motherfuckers are gonna expect that from him now. I feel like people are probably gonna be like, okay, I cannot get heel hooked by this motherfucker. Because he is very, very strategic. I know it's easy to say and hard to do, but I feel like he might get too predictable like that. But I don't think Mo's gonna. I feel like it's easy to sub Mo Usman. He has been subbed before. I'm gonna go with rear naked choke. I think he's gonna switch it up today. I think he's gonna switch it up on Saturday. Instead of a heel hook, I think he's gonna go with an RNC. I'll go second or first. Rear naked choke.
Good fight on the prelims here for the heavyweight division. Two brothers of UFC fighters. Kamaru Usman's brother, Mo the Motor Usman, coming off a win against Hamdi Al-Hawab, and Walter Walker, brother of Johnny Walker, coming off beating Kennedy Nzechukwu with a first-round submission, I believe it was, and he's on a sub streak himself. Between the two of them, finishing upside I do think is drastically in favor of Walter Walker. He just seems to be more of the finisher between the two of them. Muhammad Usman's style seems to be predicated on decision-based scenarios where he's able to grind you up against the fence if he needs to, pump the jab, decent gas tank for a heavyweight. Came from the Ultimate Fighter. Walter Walker, he's got really good grappling for heavyweight. On a submission streak himself. Ever since the Lucas Bursky fight, something clicked. He came in really bad shape in that fight. Gassed out and kind of just got outpointed for 15 minutes. Going into this matchup, I feel as though on the feet, I give Walter Walker the edge in power. On the ground, I do think he has the better jiu-jitsu. Wrestling, I kind of give him a checkbox in every single facet. Mo Usman's never been knocked out. He has been subbed. He's lost 3 decisions. The guy that subbed him had a similar build to Walter Walker, but I reckon Walter Walker's bigger and just more skilled in the grappling. I think we're going to make it a clean sweep. I don't know if it's going to be a heel hook. I don't know if it's going to be a choke, but I will say it's going to be a submission of some kind. I just think that the finishing upside is in favor of Walter. I don't even mind the idea of him getting a potential ground and pound TKO. I just think he's the better fighter. I think Mo Usman wins fights off of fatiguing his opponents at the heavyweight division and just kind of outworking them for 15 minutes. I feel like you're gonna need more than that to beat Walter Walker, in my opinion. And I trust his durability, I trust his power, I trust his wrestling and his jiu-jitsu. I just think he's the better fighter in every aspect. I'll go with a first round submission. I think if he gets on top of Mo Usman, I don't think Mo Usman's got the jiu-jitsu to stay safe on the ground. So I'm going to go to first round submission and continue the streak for Walter Walker.
Moving on to our next fight of the card. Lucas Rocha versus Clayton Carpenter. Wait, no, that's not the fight, is it? It's not Clayton Carpenter. It's Stuart Nickel. Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, Clayton Carpenter is who we just lost to. My bad. Lucas Rocha versus Stuart Nickel. 2 bums. But actually, they both actually have really good records. If you look at them, Rocha only has 2 losses, and Nickel only has 1, and that one was in the UFC in his debut. But both of them have lost in their UFC debut, and they haven't fought since then. For Stuart Nickel, that was pretty recently. I want to say it was in the spring of this year, something like that, or maybe fall of last year. Whereas it's been a while for Rocha. I want to say it's been like almost 2 years or so for Rocha. And we watched him get absolutely mauled by Clayton Carpenter. And Clayton Carpenter is a very, very, very short man. 5'5". Very small guy. Against all other flyweights, Clayton Carpenter looks very small. Clayton Carpenter looked big next to Lucas Rocha. Lucas Rocha is 5'2". He is the smallest flyweight on the roster. His skills don't represent it. And you know how the UFC height system goes. If you're telling the UFC you're 5'2" and you're telling people you're 5'2", you're probably 4'11". You know what I mean? So he's probably even lying. He is a small ass guy. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if Clayton Carpenter's 5'3". And this guy is like 5 foot or 4'11". This guy is extremely small for flyweight. He does have kind of like a bricky shape, but I'll be honest, I think Stuart Nickel is technical enough to deal with him. I trust the way he looked in his debut more than Rocha's. I know that's not a whole lot to go off of, but I'd rather you go have a minute of really good scrambles, really good grappling exchanges. You get caught in a guillotine by a guillotine guy and get subbed, rather than you just get dominated for 7 minutes with no success and you get TKO'd. Blood all over your face. I think Stuart Nickel getting subbed isn't a good look. It was by guillotine, and I notoriously hate on guillotines. But this isn't a situation where he didn't try to fight out or did something stupid. He went to sleep. He didn't tap. He went to sleep. And Jesus Aguilar does have a really good guillotine. One of the best guillotines in the UFC right now. Considering guillotines in general just get people more fucked over. But I think Stuart Nickel coming out of Australia, he's a lot bigger than Lucas Rocha. He's got, I think, way better grappling. He's came up as a grappler. From the scrambles I saw against Aguilar, he looked competent there. Very competent. I think he's able to take this to the ground like Clayton Carpenter did and maul him. His style seems to be a little bit more submission heavy than ground and pound. So I can see him kind of using the ground and pound to a means to an end to get that submission. But I'll be honest, if I have to go and pick Lucas Rocha the way I saw Lucas Rocha the first time, I can't do that. Like, bro makes Joshua Van look like a featherweight, like, if I'm remembering him right. I do not want to see this. This guy's going to get raped. And Stuart Nickel really ain't all that, so maybe, Rocha can get in the pocket and land some powerful shots. You would have to think he has a striking advantage in this fight, Rocha, that is. But I think Stuart Nickel has just got a much bigger frame, a lot better grappler, and we've already seen in that debut that's how you beat Rocha. So I'm going to go Stuart Nickel. I'm going to say second or third round, like armbar, triangle choke, something like that. Like something from Mount, I'm thinking, like an armbar, triangle choke from Mount. But yeah, I'm going to go Stuart Nickel submission.
Tough fight to predict. It feels like, because I get what Alex is saying, I really do, but we are in Brazil. We do have to conclude that. We really have to conclude that shit. We are in Brazil. If this dude can make it competitive with Stuart Nickel, they're probably going to give him the decision. But I'm going to go with Stuart Nickel. I think he's going to upset the Brazilian crowd here by... I think he's going to TKO Rocha. I don't know. It's kind of hard to pick a finish in flyweight because it rarely happens. But I could see Stuart Nickel finishing Rocha. Rocha's pretty mid, pretty bottom of the barrel, and he's also pretty small, like Alex alluded to. And Stuart Nickel is he ain't the tallest either, but he's way tall. He's got way bigger frame and way, you know what I mean though. Like he's the bigger fighter in this fight, and I think he will struggle against Stuart Nickel. I think I'm gonna go with decision, but I can see a TKO happening. I think he will win a decision in Brazil, but if it gets to a competitive fight, I could see them robbing Stuart Nickel of the decision because it's in Brazil. But fuck that logic. I'm not going to go with that logic. I don't want to try to go with that logic. But yeah, I'm going to go with, I got what's his name, man? I got Stuart Nickel decision.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I don't really know too much about Lucas Rocha, but I do know a little bit about Stuart Nickel. He lost his debut, felt the pressure, the card being in Australia, lost to Jesus Aguilar, who has looked pretty decent as of late. If you take away the Estevam fight, easier said than done, but if you do take it away, he's on a bit of a win streak. Stuart Nickel appears to be the more prolific finisher from what I'm seeing between the two of them. To an extent, I don't really rate that record of Rocha 17-2. I do think it's deflated a tad. Nickel, 30 years old, 9 pro fights. He's got at least 3 submissions, and I want to say like 4 knockouts, something along those lines. He just seems to be the bigger fighter in this one. I think the UFC jitters got to him in his debut, and he fought a guy who's pretty decent in his own right in Jesus Aguilar, who checks a lot of boxes in terms of the flyweight division. He's got great scrambles, great durability, overall stamina. Aguilar looks really good, so I don't really see any shame losing to that caliber of opponent. Rocha, from what Alex is saying, is he's small for flyweight. That's never a good thing. I'm just torn between a finish or a decision win here for Stuart Nickel. I am going to go with Stuart Nickel. I think we're going to continue the clean sweep streak here. I'm going to go with Stuart Nickel by... I'll go with Alex. I'll go to second round submission. I think in the boxing department, Roach's best chance, like Alex said, is to get in the pocket, try to land something big. I think Stuart Nickel will be more measured in this approach in his compared to his UFC debut. I think he came out a bit brash and he rushed things a little bit, was a bit impulsive. In this fight, I feel like he'll be more even keeled. He'll know he's the bigger guy in the cage. He'll settle into the fight more cleaner. I think he won't force the grappling exchanges, but I think when he feels the opportunity presents itself, he's going to shoot the takedown. He's going to pass his guard and get to positions where he can threaten the submission. I think, but in the first round, though, it'll be very like touchy-feel with the striking and kind of a point fight. But then in the second round, I do envision Stuart Nickel pressing the gas a little bit more further, pressuring Rocha, and eventually getting him down and passing his guard to where he can't get the submission in the second round. So I'll go with a second round sub for Stuart Nickel in a clean sweep.
Moving on to our next fight of the card, Irina Alekseeva versus Beatrice Mesquita. Fucking dog shit fight, low-key. This should be the early prelim opener. This is worse than Simon Olivera and Juan Lacerda, by far. Two dog shit fighters in a women's division. That's the worst division. Total worst division in the whole UFC, women's bantamweight. Terrible division, terrible fighters, terrible styles. Alekseeva calls herself the Russian Ronda. She doesn't fight anything like Ronda Rousey. I guess she's has a hip toss. And she's gotten arm bars. But outside of that, I don't know. But Mesquita, she's undefeated, coming in, Brazilian. She has a lot of experience in grappling, like jiu-jitsu. A lot of them are cans. A lot of them are MMA fighters in jiu-jitsu tournaments and stuff like that. She did... Who did she lose to? She lost to Juliana Miller in a grappling match, which I don't like very much. Mesquita, that is. But I think I still want to trust her here to beat Alekseeva. I think she probably still has the grappling advantage over Alekseeva, and Alekseeva is just not good. Maybe she can out-scrap her on the feet. That's always a potential. But Brazilians sometimes have good technique. Trains at ATT, so that makes me kind of believe that a little bit more. She's going to be kind of well-tuned. She'll have the cab kick. She'll fight behind a jab. So just off of that, I'm going to go Beatrice Mesquita. Even if it's close, we're in Brazil. Everything is pointing me towards picking Mesquita, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pick Beatrice Mesquita. I'm going to say split decision. I'm going to say Alekseeva has a round where she just starts swinging like a tard, makes it close, and wins the round. But I'm going to say Mesquita is probably the better overall fighter, training with ATT. But yeah, Mesquita decision.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with Alex. I got Beatrice Mesquita as well. It's a shit fight. I don't really care much about it, but I guess we can't really make the cards ourselves. But yeah, I got Beatrice Mesquita. I think they're gonna go with the undefeated woman in this one, and I don't think the Russian Ronda is all that. Irina or whatever the fuck her name is, she's ass at fighting. She should change that fucking name. That is a disgrace to Ronda Rousey. I'm not even a huge Ronda fan. I shit on Ronda a lot. I think that's like a fucking insult to Ronda Rousey's legacy to even be called Russian Ronda. But anyways, I shouldn't be yapping too much about this fucking fight. I got Beatrice Mesquita by decision. I got 30-27. I think it'll be a masterclass.
Yeah, not too much of an extensive breakdown on this one. Clean sweep. I'm going to go with Beatrice Mesquita by decision as well. I just think she trains with the better gym and American Top Team. Undefeated record in Brazil. Like I said, we got a handful of Brazilian fighters in this card. Some are going to win, some are going to lose. This one's not going to lose. Russian Ronda just has too many mistakes in her game. She goes for explosive movements, and yeah, if she lands, she lands, but it really is that much of a chance that she lands type shit. I feel like Mesquita, again, no real tape study on this one. This is just kind of a blind fade of Russian Ronda in Brazil. So, yeah, I'll go with Beatrice Mesquita in a decision win.
Moving on to our next fight. Definitely a better fight here than that piece of shit. Vitor Petrino versus Thomas Peterson.
Can I go first on this one?
If you want to.
I think Vitor Petrino is gonna rape Thomas Peterson here. I don't think Thomas Peterson's good. Yes, he has a couple not even good fucking wins. They're fucking horrible. Oh my god. His best win is fucking Mo Usman. Oh my god, this is horrible. Yeah, horrible. And he got chinned by the blob goat Shamil Gaziev. Honestly, Shamil Gaziev is, triple division champion in the making here, but, Shamil Gaziev is fucking fat, bro. Like, getting chinned by him is insane. And he got chinned by Waldo Cortez Acosta in LFA. And Waldo doesn't really knock people out like that for real in the UFC as it is. Mm-hmm. I got Petrino. The only way Petrino would lose is if he does something fucking retarded like how he has done. And the last time he was in Brazil, that shit did happen where he did something completely fucking retarded. But I'm going to trust Vitor here. It's a new year, new Petrino, new weight. I think he will destroy Peterson. I think I'm going to pick him by first or second round KO. I think he could. I think he's going to hit him with a hook. Petrino's got very good hooks, and most of the people that has knocked him out have knocked him out with hooks. I think it said Waldo knocked him out with a hook. Let me check. Gaziev hit him with a hook. Right hook. It doesn't say that what Waldo hit him with. It just says punches. But yeah, he has been knocked out before, and I think he's gonna get knocked out in this fight. I could see Petrino grapple and sub him, but I think he's gonna show levels into this fight and show that he is in a good weight class, lighter man skill, if you will, and just cook this fat retard. Anyways, Alex, you can go. I just wanted to kick it off there.
This is a good fight for Petrino, I'll be honest. I think the best thing here for Petrino is, from what we've seen from Petrino so far, is he loses by fluke factor. And there really is no fluke factor here. I don't see Thomas Peterson as dangerous in any way. He's just kind of a fat heavyweight. He's a wrestler. Not a whole lot to say to him other than that. Just a wrestler with an overhand, and not even a good overhand at that. I think it's kind of like even his last fight, Petrino's last fight, Austin Lane, I think, is more dangerous than Thomas Peterson. That's saying something. I do think Thomas Peterson's probably overall better, and he'd beat Austin Lane if they fought, but Austin Lane's long, he's tall, he's physical, whereas Thomas Peterson's just kind of a fat blob that knows how to wrestle. Petrino knows how to grapple as well. His path to victory here is definitely the feet, which I think could make for an exciting knockout. And I think this is a good opportunity for him to show what he's made of and show that he's still the guy that people thought he was when he came on into the UFC from the Contender Series and just beat this fat fuck's ass. He kind of played it safe against Austin Lane. He was on a 2-fight skid. He didn't want to go on a 3-fight skid. I understand. You're getting close to getting cut. You want to play it safe, take it easy, get the takedowns, get to the second round, submission, win. This time I want to see you smash him. Damn. Yeah, I think he's going to beat his ass and just put a statement out. That's what I want from Vitor Petrino. I think Thomas Peterson is a good opponent to do that too. I don't see any fluke side opportunities for Peterson to take advantage of. So I definitely got to go Vitor Petrino by murder. First round KO of some kind. I'm going to say left hook.
I think we're going to keep the clean sweep streak rolling. I can't remember a time that it's been as consistent as it has since this card, man. Crazy. But I've been higher on Vitor Petrino than most. I remember his Contender Series debut against the likes of Adolfo Bellato. And ever since that knockout, I've seen potential in his game. He went on a bit of a streak in the UFC. And then, as we all know, he made a bad decision shooting a takedown when I thought he was clearly winning on the feet against Anthony Smith into a guillotine, and he tapped. It was unfortunate, but then after that he followed it up with being probably 1-1 in the third round with a good kickboxer in Jacoby, and he sniped him, quick scoped him, clean knockout from Dustin Jacoby. And then he made the move to heavyweight. And I actually like this move for him. My only concern is he's not particularly the biggest guy in the division. But I mean, he is athletic, though. That is the give and the take with the move to heavyweight for Vitor Petrino, where I fear his frame and maybe he doesn't have the most power against the more physical opponents and the more higher level heavyweights. He will have a speed and an athletic advantage against a majority of the opponents in the heavyweight division that he would face. And we've seen him be able to use his grappling as well. His striking is getting better. He can throw the leg kick. He's got power in his hands. His grappling is good. He's pretty well-rounded overall. Thomas Peterson, I don't really see anything special in him, to be honest. I just see a bit of a scrapper at heavyweight, and and similar to Petrino, he's not the biggest guy at heavyweight either. I don't really see him as a physically imposing threat to Petrino. I can't really envision a world where Peterson imposes his will on the clinch, or he's lighting him up with boxing combinations, or he's hacking at his legs at range, or he's taking him down at will and he's able to stay on top. I don't really see these things being a factor in the fight. I think Petrino has more opportunities to do these things. But I did notice that Peterson's been knocked out twice on his record, so I'm going to go with the TKO in this one. I think Vitor Petrino is just going to look better overall everywhere. I think he's going to be the better kicker. I think he's going to be faster. I think he's going to be more defensively sound. He can grapple if he wants to. It's really Vitor by any way he wants, but I'm going to go with the KO because I agree with Alex. I think he wants to make a statement in this heavyweight division. I think he wants to show people that he made the right decision moving here. I'll go with a Vitor Petrino. I want to say, what round did Shamil Gaziev knock out Peterson?
First.
He knocked him out in the first? What round did the other one? Who's the other guy now? Walter Cortez Acosta. Was it like first 2 rounds? Probably something like that.
I think it was
Third round.
It was third.
Oh, it was the third?
Yeah.
I'll meet in the
shit.
middle. I'll go a little bit in the middle. I don't think Petrino is going to be as reckless per se as Gaziev or as willing to go forward. I'll go with the second round TKO for Vitor Petrino on Thomas Peterson. I think first round he'll just get his reads. He'll win the round. And second round, Peterson's going to feel the need to do something big to win the round back and at least make it tied going into the third. And he'll rush in and get countered. And Vitor Petrino will follow up a ground and pound. I'll go to a second round TKO for Vitor Petrino. Clean sweep streak stays rolling for Rio. We have multiple Brazilians we've agreed on.
Yeah, we have had a lot of clean sweeps. I think this card will be... I think we're going to start disagreeing here soon, though.
Yeah.
I'll be honest.
I can see it.
Moving on to our next fight. Good flyweight scrap. Geoff Phil Ho versus Clayton Carpenter. I went into this week picking Clayton Carpenter based on the Takir Ulanbekov performance. I thought he looked really good in that fight. I believe he took Tagir down. He outboxed him in moments. But I came to thinking, how good is Tagir actually? I don't really think he's all that good. Just because you're Dagestani doesn't mean a damn thing to me. Just because you train with people that are good doesn't make you good. You know, it's kind of like the whole Muhammad Usman situation. Just because your last name's Usman doesn't mean you're as good as Kamaru is. You know, you're actually dog shit. And Tagir, I wouldn't say he's dog shit, but I think he's that's a lot of weight to make flyweight. He's like fucking 5'8". Like, he's a big guy for flyweight, and he's built. He's not a twig. Like, he cuts a lot of weight, and I think he's kind of just no water in his head, just going out there. Let me try for a takedown. Like, that's kind of Tagir, and he's sharpened up his striking and all that stuff, but he's still really not dominant with the grappling. And I think Clayton Carpenter was kind of able to take advantage of that. But I'll be honest, Clayton Carpenter, both of his wins in the UFC have been against really small fighters. Juan Camilo Ronderos is another very small fighter who's also shit. Lucas Rocha is very small. We talked about that earlier. His most impressive win, I would say, is actually his Contender Series win against Edgar Chairez, which has gone on to look pretty well. Edgar Chairez came into the UFC and's done okay as a flyweight, kind of a scrapper, fun fighter. But I'll be honest, Rafael Filho's had a lot of good moments in the UFC. You know, he tore like ligaments in Muhammad Makayev's leg. He was up 2-0 on Makayev, out grappling him before he got subbed. He's I thought he beat Nascimento in his last fight. I thought they robbed him. He's had some moments where I'm like, ooh, that doesn't look good. Like, I think Daniel Barres hurt him, the Spaniard that's not very good, the flyweight. And I want to say he got dropped by somebody else, maybe Victor Altamirano or somebody. But there's been moments where I'm like, oh, that doesn't look the greatest, but his grappling is really, really, really good. And Clayton Carpenter, who's mostly a grappler, I think if this fight goes on the ground, I favor Jaffa Filho to actually get a submission. I think Carpenter might have the boxing advantage, but I honestly really like Filho's hands too. He's gotten body shot TKOs before. I like Filho overall as a flyweight contender. He actually, I didn't even know this, he actually out-grappled Amir Albazi to a grappling decision win in a grappling match recently. Maybe it was because Albazi wasn't in the best health, I don't know, but he has that win. And I actually rate his grappling from what I've seen in Muhammad Makayev fight. I'm going to pick Jaffa Filho here by second round armbar. I think there will be moments where they take each other down. There will be moments where they're each boxing each other. I think Carpenter will hurt him. But I think at some point they're going to get to the ground and Jaffa Filho is going to sub him. I think the jiu-jitsu difference is like that. I think Jaffa Filho's grappling is like that. I'm going to say submission, second round, Filho.
I'm gonna go with. I'll go with Clayton Carpenter here. I think Clayton's gonna get this done. Like Alex said, Filho is really good. I was gonna say that as well. He beat Amir Albazi in a grappling match that is pretty impressive. And I did also think he beat Nascimento as well. I thought he won that fight, but you know, it is what it is. I could see this. I could see him beat Clayton Carpenter, but I think Clayton Carpenter is going to get it in the bag. I don't know. Something's telling me he's gonna win. I think it's either going to be a decision or maybe a submission or a submission on his own. We'll have to see what happens. I'll go with either or submission or decision. If it is submission, I'll go later rounds, like either second or third.
Very tough fight in the flyweight division. These two guys are really good. Jaffa Filho training out of Nova União, and he's pretty much the hometown kid on this card. Really, he's from Rio de Janeiro, if I'm not mistaken. He's fighting out of Rio de Janeiro at least. He's very talented. Alex said it best. He has had some pretty good performances, even in losses, like the Muhammad Makayev fight. Put up a very good fight before getting submitted. His striking has improved as well. He's very well-rounded. But I am high on Clayton Carpenter as well. I picked him, actually, in the Tagiru Lebekov fight. He lost that fight after a good first round, I want to say, but, you know, that's just part of the learning lessons for him. He's not the youngest guy either, being 29 years old, but I like what I saw in the grappling exchanges. I think this is going to be a very close fight, man. I really don't hate if you pick Filho, and I don't hate if you pick Carpenter. It's that type of fight. I really do think it's a coin flip. I think I don't mind Alex's take in saying that Filho's got the better jiu-jitsu. I don't mind that at all. But I do think there's a chance that Carpenter's wrestling and boxing may be better. This is a really good fight. Strength of schedule and competition, I would favor Filho. He's only 3 years older. He has nearly double his fights. No, he does have pretty much double his fights. 16-4 record to Carpenter's 8-1, and he's only got a 3-year age gap. He checks a lot of boxes. This is a coin flip of a fight. I think this is going to be a split decision either way, but I'm going to go with Clayton Carpenter just because the record's cleaner, and I think he's a newer face. I do think he'll get top time. I do think he'll have success in the boxing exchanges. My area of concern is the jiu-jitsu and the calf kicks of Jaffa Filho. I think that will be a weapon that he will impose. Overall kicking game in general. I feel like Carpenter's got a bit of a boxing heavy style, but when it comes to being on the feet. But I think it's going to be a super close fight. I'm going to go to Clayton Carpenter split decision win in Rio.
Moving on to our next fight. Another very close fight. Another fight I changed earlier this week. Michael Aswell versus Lucas Almeida. This is a tough fight. Michael Aswell is a lot younger. He came in off the Contender Series. He lost on the Contender Series, but he took a short notice fight up a division against Blagioki, and now he's here. Lost the fight against Grod, lost the fight against Oki. Both fights he kind of got out-scrapped. I think Michael Aswell is a victim to his own technique to some degree. He wants to be picture perfect and sit back and pop the jab and only fire when it's perfect for him and where he feels like he can't get hit. But sometimes he's a victim to that because this isn't boxing. This is MMA. The footwork's different. People can throw different stuff. And when you're, high guard up like that and you're not throwing, you don't really have a lot of threat back. People can start to put work in on you. This isn't a Petr Yan scenario where he's got the knees, got the elbows, got the kicks, got the grappling, make you what am I saying? I just stimmed out. But Petr Yan can it's not just a high boxing guard. He's able to defend low. He's able to defend to the body. He can check a kick. Michael Aswell really can't. It's really just boxing and nothing else. People will be like, oh, this guy's a boxer. Ilya's just a boxer. Ilya kicks. Ilya can fight in the clinch. Michael Aswell really is just boxing. And when he does box, it's not in volume. It's on the back foot. It's jabs, 1-2s. Sometimes he can get some combination work in. But really, I think he gets out-scrapped. And that is Lucas Almeida's game. I think Lucas Almeida is by far the more experienced guy. And there's been times Lucas Almeida's looked like dog shit. But Andre Fili's pretty good. I got to be honest. He got out-physicaled and out-boxed by Michael Trezano and kind of got I think it was a double knockdown in that fight. But he loses by boxers, so you could say that. But Michael Aswell really isn't very imposing. He's a small guy for featherweight. I've never really seen him look big in any of his fights. And the guys he fights, I don't really see them as very technically skilled on the feet. Like Bogdan Grad, Blagioki. These guys are kind of just scrappers that like to get in the pocket and swing and bang. And I think Michael Aswell isn't very talented in doing that. And sometimes he is willing to. But it's usually on when he feels like, okay, I can step in, hook, back off, and then try to get to my range. But as he's doing that, an Oki or a Bogdan Grad just keeps going, keeps putting that pressure. This isn't boxing where you can just circle off. There's weapons in MMA like leg kicks, wheel kicks, body kicks, head kicks, knees, elbows that affect you from doing certain stuff that you would normally be able to do in a boxing ring. And I think Aswell's still got to get out of that mindset. He's very, very boxing heavy, fights like a boxer, very low output as well. I think Lucas Almeida is going to be able to get in his face, make it a scrap. And I don't see a lot of power on the side of Aswell for him to catch a knockout in Almeida. And even then, I think Almeida's tough, scrappy, durable. Maybe not durable, but tough. And he can fight through those. And if it's a close fight, Brazilian, you got to go with that. I'm going to go Lucas Almeida by decision. I'm going to say Lucas, it's a close fight. Michael Aswell has a really good first round. But Lucas Almeida just starts scrapping and getting into the pocket and wins the second and third. I'm going to go Lucas Almeida by decision.
This is a tough one. This is a very tough one to predict. I'm gonna stick with Michael Aswell. I get what Alex is saying on here. I really do. But I don't know, man. I don't know. Lucas Almeida is pretty old, man. That's my number one issue. He's pretty old for his age, and he's also, Andre Fili is not that bad, but he did get fucking brutalized. And I'm not saying Michael Aswell's Andre Fili level, but I don't know. I think he's gonna finish Lucas Almeida here. Lucas Almeida's getting older and he's not the best either. I don't know. I'm gonna stick to my pick. I'm gonna go with Michael. I'm gonna go with second round KO. I think it's just the age factor involved in it.
Tough fight. Yeah, Lucas Almeida, I think Alex hit the analysis on the nail on this one. Almeida's a scrapper. He likes to go into fights, into firefights. He's really just trying to see who's got more dog, honestly. He's very much attack, all offense. His defense isn't the best, but he looks good in fights. Tough fight in the featherweight division. This should be a striking fight for the most part. Almeida is a scrapper. He really just wants to see who's got a bigger dog in that fight. He goes forward, reckless abandonment, you name it. Not the best defense, but entertaining fighter nonetheless. Not a small featherweight either. 5'11", decent reach, 71 I want to say, long legs. As for Michael Aswell, he lost in the Contender Series, but has found his way into the UFC despite that. Very boxing heavy style. Not the smallest, not the biggest featherweight by any means, but I like his style. I like his output. His gas tank isn't bad. He lost to Bogdangrad in a decision, very close fight, where I guess the biggest critique I would say of Michael Aswell is optics-wise. He hasn't the best in terms of optics. Like, he bruises easy. He has scar tissue. You can cut him. Bogdangrad was able to win the fight because of those optics. The Belagioki fight on short notice, he didn't really get his offense going. So this is a really tough fight, but I'm going to lean with Michael Aswell on this one. I just think he's a superior boxer. Almeida leaves himself to be countered. I don't trust his defense. I understand he is the bigger guy, and the optics of Aswell aren't great when he gets touched, but I'm going to go with Michael Aswell. I don't mind a late TKO, but I'm going to go with a decision win and a hard-fought victory where he wins 2 of the 3 rounds. We'll go Michael Aswell decision.
Moving on to our next fight, we got Ricardo Ramos versus Con Offley. You know, this is another kind of bad fight, I'll be honest. Both fighters are ready to be cut. I don't know why this is on the main card. I'm pretty sure this is a main card fight. Yeah, it is. I guess they want that Turkish representation. And that's what I'm going to be going with. I'm going to be going with Con Offley. I like his grappling in this fight. I actually dislike almost everything about Ramos. I think that's a big reason why I would go to Con Offley as a winner. He lost to Muhammad Naimov, who just cheats in every single one of his fucking fights. He's also big for the weight class. He's got a lot of power, and he's got good grappling. Lost to Myron Santos on the Contender Series, got knocked out, or the Ultimate Fighter. He looked really good, though, on the Ultimate Fighter up until fighting Myron. Myron, I think, is just really good. Made Sadiq Youssef look fucking totally dog shit. And I know Sadiq Youssef isn't great, but he's been ranked. You know, I think Con Offley's still okay. I think he's better than Ricardo Ramos is at this point. Ramos gets some nice KOs sometimes. He'll get a spinning elbow, or he'll get a fluke submission. But he has never in his life ever dominated another man in the UFC. Pause. But you know what I mean. He's never sustainably beat somebody up for longer than a second. He'll have his spinning elbow KOs or a fluke submission, but he's never beating somebody. He's always, if he wins a decision, it's a close robbery decision. Otherwise he just flukes a submission at some point. He's never winning a fight. Never. Really. It's either a neck and neck fight that the judges give him or he flukes it. And in Con Offley, I think, he's a shorter frame, kind of got like that Volk build to some degree. I think he's going to be hard to submit, a grappler by trade. I think his submission defense is going to be on point. I don't think, there's a chance he runs into a spinning elbow. Let's be real. But I just can't pick that. I think Ricardo Ramos is literally only here because every time he's about to get cut, he gets a spinning elbow KO. So maybe he's due. I don't know. But I think Con Offley's just a better fighter, and I got to pick him to win. I think Ricardo Ramos is all fluke potential. If Ricardo Ramos does win this, it's going to be a fluke submission or KO that is going to happen either early or later into the fight after he's already losing. Even if Con Offley loses the fight, I see him winning until that happens. So I'm going to go Con Offley, out-grappling decision. No, you know what? I'm going to go submission. I think Con Offley's going to out-grapple him. Ramos has gotten subbed before. I think he'll get the back, rear naked choke, or arm triangle. Something basic. I'm going to say arm triangle or rear naked choke. Con Offley, second or third.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Con Offley as well. I'm not really a huge Ricardo Ramos fan. Most of the fights he's been in, it's been fucking horrible. 8-6, and he's 8-6 in the UFC. Not very good. And Con Offley doesn't really have a bet. He's 0-2. I get that, but I got Conoffee in this one. I think he's gonna get it done as well. I agree with Alex. I think I'm gonna go with him as well.
Yeah, this is actually my dog in the card. I'm actually.
I got decision. Tony, your mic is muted. No, it's Mike.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, this is actually my underdog of the card. I'm actually surprised that it's going to be a clean sweep from all of us. I'm going to go Conoffee as well. I'm not really too impressed in Ricardo Ramos's wins as of late. The Joshua Kalibao fight was gifted. Kalibao sold that. He fumbled that horrendously. Conoffee isn't particularly special, but I'm just looking specifically at his losses, his 4 losses. He lost to an undefeated Australian fighter. He lost to a 15-3 what looks to be part-time boxer, and he lost to Myron Santos, who I think is was pretty good in his own right. I think he's got really good striking, and he lost to Muhammad Naimov. That's a tough style fight for him. I feel like Ricardo Ramos, like Alex said it best, the margins he wins at aren't good enough to consistently want to pick him. He kind of has to Hail Mary. He kind of has to resort to, dare I say, flukish measures, per se. If fights don't end in a finish for him where he gets this fluke shot, it's by the narrowest of margins he won the decision, via almost a robbery, if you will, per se. As for Conoffee, I'm going to trust in his control. I'm going to trust in his ability to not get subbed, his ability to not get knocked out. I'm going to just trust in him to win the fight. I'm torn between a submission and decision. I don't mind Alex going the submission route, but I just think Conoffee, if he gets Ricardo Ramos down to the ground, he probably will attempt chokes and attack those things, but I think he's going to have a control-based game where he's just accumulating an amount of total strikes that he'll be undeniable. It won't be close to strike count, I feel. So I'm going with the Conoffee decision scenario where he just showcases he's the better fighter in all phases of MMA. He shows good submission defense, avoiding submissions. He shows wrestling. He shows being able to stay on top, getting ground and pound. And I think his striking, he'll be able to compete with Ricardo Ramos on the feet. He just has to avoid those big moments, that's all. Conoffee decision win in the upset. Clean sweep.
Moving on to our next fight up the main card. Heavyweight fight between 2 strikers, Jonathan Diniz versus Mario Pinto. 2 Brazilians. One represents Brazil, one represents Portugal. I'm going to go with another underdog. I'm going to go Jonathan Diniz here. I think, he is kind of looks like a fat piece of shit, but he's not as fat as he looks sometimes. You know what I mean? Sometimes you'll look at him in the cage and he'll be titties sagging, belly flopping, like, oh, look at this fat piece of shit. And then boom, chop the leg kick, fast hands. You're like, okay. You know what I mean? For like a fat piece of shit, like, you know what I mean? Like, okay. You know, like he's a lot more put together than some of these other heavyweight fat shit strikers, like a Justin Tafa or somebody like that. Like he's got some speed to him, and he's got some variety. He's coming in with a Glory kickboxing background, and I know that's not everything, but in my opinion, it does help when you're a heavyweight, especially. And I think, okay, you're both strikers. Who am I going to favor to land that one shot that can mean so much in this division better and more efficiently? I got to go with the guy who's got a better history of doing so at a higher level, technically. And that's Jonathan Diniz. And coupled with the fact that Mario Pinto is getting fucking touched up by Austin Lane on the feet, I do not like that. Austin Lane's a bit awkward. He's long, he's tall, he's physical, but he should not be doing you like that if I'm going to pick you to beat Jonathan Diniz. To be fair, Austin Lane, tall, long, athletic, whereas Jonathan Diniz, shorter, kind of pudgy, not as long of a reach. I think Austin Lane's got like 80 inches of reach or something crazy. But I think Jonathan Diniz is, if he's hitting the shots that Austin Lane hit Mario Pinto with, he's putting them out. And Mario Pinto, he's more of a swanger, I like to call him. Like, just likes to swang big hooks and overhands. Whereas Jonathan Diniz, he'll have moments of doing that too, but a lot of it's very tight. Tight hooks, tight uppercuts, tight straights, good timing. Whereas Mario Pinto gets really wild, and and if Austin Lane can make you pay, Renata Deniz, I think, can too. And if he does, you really are going to pay. This isn't going to just be something where you walk it off till round 2 and then you get him. Renata Deniz is proved he's got some level of cardio too to fight 3 rounds. You know, I would agree that Mario Pinto probably has the grappling advantage, but he said the same thing about Carl Williams, and he stuffed like all of his takedowns. You know, and then he goes and fights Tybura and gets kind of molested, but I think a part of that was the adrenaline dump. He clips Tybura, puts him down, wham, wham, wham. Tybura survives, even though he's bloodied, and then out grapples him and TKOs him. That's just kind of how it goes sometimes with these fat fucks. But I think when you're fighting at the pace of both of these guys, both a little bit fat, that has to be mind. Mario Pinto's more physical, but on the regionals, he was way more physical than he looks like now. He kind of looked like a fucking specimen on the regionals. But he comes in with a bit of a belly against Austin Lane, and he doesn't have the best performance. Might be roids, might not be. But I'm going to pick the fat guy that's used to being a fat guy and wins fights being a fat guy, rather than the guy who looks like he was made out of a Greek god statue that no longer looks like that and is now trying to fight. I like the technique. I like the power. I think he's got better technique than Pinto. Austin Lane fight was disgusting. When I see a fight like that, I can't pick you. So I'm going to go Janata Deniz, better experience in the UFC, higher level experience striking in general. Yeah, I said it all. I think he's got it. Janata Deniz. I'm going to say Pinto gets frustrated, tries to make it a brawl, and gets KO'd for his efforts. End of round 1. Janata Deniz.
It's kind of a tough fight to predict, mainly because it is heavyweight. Anything could happen. I want to go with Janata Deniz. I really do. Pinto looked like ass in his last fight. I think I picked against him, if I'm not mistaken, and I almost was successful in that.
I think you did pick Austin Lane. I think you did pick Austin Lane in that fight.
Yeah, that wasn't looking like a bad pick in hindsight. Huh?
I do remember that. Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
That was a good pick.
It was, but it wasn't. Like, it was, but it wasn't. The thing with Deniz is, bro, I could so see him gassing out trying to knock out this motherfucker. He has history of gassing out before. And he looked like dog shit against Tybura. But sad to say it. Very fucking sad to say it. Tybura is actually decent. Tybura is actually decent. I hate to say it. But I might be stuck here for a minute. I'm going to go with Deniz. I could see Pinto catching him, though. If Pinto wins by KO, I'm going to be so annoyed. And I'll never pick this fat blob ever again. Deniz, count your days if you fucking lose, motherfucker. Yeah, I got Deniz by TKO, late rounds TKO, maybe a decision. But I could see him gassing out and getting knocked out because he's a fat fuck. But we'll see what happens, I guess.
Tough fight in the heavyweight division between battle of the Portuguese flag and the Brazilian flag. Janata Deniz, 9-1, former Glory kickboxer. You know, he's not in the best of shape, but at the same time, I wouldn't put him as morbidly obese tier in heavyweight. He's got some degree of athleticism. He's got good striking technicality. I think Alex said it best. A lot of his shots are very tight, very technical in that regard. There is a bit of a grappling hole in his game, but that's the case for a lot of strikers coming from heavyweight. As for Mario Pinto, I suppose he would be the more hyped up prospect between the two of them. Undefeated record, claiming born out of Portugal, fighting out of London. 6'5", 79-inch reach. I think he has a lot of physical tools that are appealing, and especially in a striking realm of a fight. I think the kicks are Deniz, obviously hailing from Glory Kickboxing, but the gap in boxing I don't think is really crazy on either side. I reckon the better boxing capability I actually do feel is Mario Pinto in this one. He's 7 years younger, the fighter here. I feel as though if he doesn't get his leg hacked, I feel like his movement and his strikes are going to bother Deniz, honestly. I know Deniz looked good against Carl Williams and against, I forget that guy he just fought, but he actually popped for PEDs, his last opponent. Hines, I believe it was, something Hines. But I'm going with Portugal in this one, man. I'm going Mario Pinto. I think he can win this fight by knockout, and I think he can win this fight on the scorecards. I feel as though younger fighter, more potential. I do understand the Austin Lane fight occurred, but the more I've watched these fights, the more I've watched these new people get signed to the UFC, the more debutantes I've seen, the more I really do realize the UFC jitters is a real thing. And I do think that he was nervous in that fight. He fought very uneasy. It was very clear, like, from that first round that he fought like, okay, he's feeling the moment. He's feeling the pressure of getting in the UFC. And he almost paid the ultimate price for it. But he was able to overcome the adversity, and he was able to get a spectacular finish. I think he's the better athlete between him and Deniz in this one. I think he's the bigger fighter in this one. It's not by a drastic metric, but he is bigger, he's younger, I think he's more athletic. If I had to assume who I would give the edge to in grappling, I would give it to Pinto, blindly, just seeing Deniz, how he reacts to grappling situations in MMA. I think so long as the calf kick game ain't going for Deniz, I feel like Mario Pinto is the better fighter in every aspect, including the boxing. So I'm just torn between a knockout or a decision, but for the sake of, I think I'll go with the decision win for Mario Pinto. I think he's going to showcase a little bit of everything in this fight. I think he's going to show us an improvement in the defense. I think he's going to show us that he can go 15 minutes. I think we're going to see good boxing, good straight punches, maybe even pump the jab here and there. Mix a takedown when he feels the need to. I'm going to go with a Mario Pinto decision win where he could potentially get the knockout, but I think he'll just showcase that he's a legit contender in the heavyweight division and remain undefeated. I'll go with the Mario Pinto decision.
Moving on to our next fight, our feature fight of the card. I've been picking a lot of underdogs. This is where that ends. Vicente Luque versus Joel Alvarez.
Yeah.
Oh,
Can I break it?
I'm gonna get a bit closer for this.
You want me to just go first?
No, I'm going first.
He's got the lead on this one.
Listen, this is an execution to end all executions. There's been some lately. Gene Silva, Diego Lopez, one that comes to mind. I think myself thought, and a lot of others thought Gene Silva was just going to murder Diego, and turned out Diego has that dog in him, made of his improvements, and got it done over Gene. And there's been some other ones, but this is one where I really know deep down that it's going to be an execution. And I know some people saying, like, oh, you never know, Luque's bigger. Joel Alvarez is a lightweight. He doesn't hit that hard. You're right. That's why it's going to be so fucking bad. Because it's not going to be a one-punch KO. It's going to be a flurry of elbows and knees and punches and body shots and head shots and boom, leg kick, clinch. It's going to be a brutal fight to watch. I'm about to get to this in a minute, but Luque should be retired. If you're anybody in the crowd today with the last name Luque, you're responsible for this. You're responsible for what's about to happen and what happened. Because it's going to happen. It's your fault for not being like, Dad, we love you. Stop. Or anything like that. That needs to happen 10 weeks ago. It needs to happen 2 years ago, after the Jeff Neal fight, low key. Okay, you let him come back and come try again after the Jeff Neal fight. He looks terrible. Okay, he tries again. He looks terrible again. Okay, he takes some time off. He comes back and he beats Themba. It doesn't mean shit. You know, and then you keep going down the pipe. You get murdered by Kevin Holland, who gets murdered by D-Rod, damn near. Like, come on now. Like, this is the level Luque has gotten to. And, I mean, historically, Luque is a lot of, very fun fighter. A lot of people like watching him. A lot of people's favorite fighters, like the hardcores love him. You're making it. You gotta get this fight out against like Brian Barberina. You're going to a war with Nico Price, where you're losing until you start beating up his eye. That wasn't even that long ago of a fight. That was like prime Luque when he fought Nico Price the second time. And then he fights old Woodley, who's washed, beats him. Chiesa, it's fucking Michael Chiesa, who has a part-time fighter, part-time analyst. Full-time analyst. I like Luque. He's a very fun fighter, but after that, like when you're a fighter like Luque and that chin goes, you go. Because that's the end. And, Vanderlei has no chin. And I was about to compare him to Vanderlei. But I've never heard of Vanderlei having like the brain issues that Luque does. And that's what's scary. Because Vicente Luque genuinely has had real brain issues. He had a brain hemorrhage, which is very serious. And that can kill you. And it wasn't one big shot that Jeff Neal hit him with that gave him that. It was several big shots. Boom, boom, a boom. Like the uppercut combo he was landing on the clinch. Just boom, boom, boom. Just raining on him. Just all the shots going to where they need to go. Head, body, head, body, head, body. Body. A lot of them were going to the head. Most of them were going to the head. I'll be honest. Joel will be going to the body a lot more, which I think won't be as bad as the Jeff Neal fight. He isn't as powerful. He's better than Jeff Neal. He is. I think he's a better striker than Jeff Neal. He's got so many different tools. He's going to be hitting Luque with more than just hands. He's going to be hitting him can you imagine if he hits Luque with the sequence he hit Brenner with the clinch knees that finished him? Like where he hits him with 30 unanswered clinch knees? It might kill him. I'm not even joking or exaggerating. That's how I feel anytime Luque fights, especially with this one. It's one thing where it's okay, Kevin Holland's probably going to knock you down and sub you, or knock you down and then TKO, you're going to quit. This fight, the only way it's not super bad is if Luque quits at some point early. If he gets hit, rocked, and then just crumples down, punch, over. Or, maybe if Joel gets him to the ground and subs him. That's the only thing he can hope for. Because if he fights it, and he's got good grappling defense, this is going to be a long night on the feet where he's going to be hurting bad. And got to worry for Luque. But yeah, I think everything is there for Joel Alvarez. You name it, it's there. Submissions, takedowns, clinch, knees, elbows, kicks, punches, everything. Body, legs, head. There's nothing Joel Alvarez can't do to Luque in this fight. And the thing that makes it even worse is Luque was preparing for Ponzinibbio, a fellow old man. And now you got to fight Joel Alvarez, lighter man, skill, speed coming up, who's huge for lightweight. He's not going to be undersized. He didn't build up, sure, but he's honestly doesn't need to. He should if he's going to be a welterweight, but he ain't a small lightweight that's coming up. This is a huge guy, a massive guy, a big guy for welterweight. I could see him being big in front of Luque. And he's jacked. He isn't this peanut butter belly Luque out there. He's going to hurt Luque bad in every regard. Hopefully it ends within a minute. Because if it goes past 2 minutes, it's going to be a hard watch. I'm going to go Joel Alvarez, first round TKO.
Yeah. Vicente Luque is on a very horrible path. He has gotten his ass whooped God knows ends way. I like Vicente Luque. I prayed to the MMA gods that Vicente Luque fucking wins. I hope they do. I hope they give us the same amount of happiness. I know these motherfuckers like Joel Alvarez. I know I should like him. I have some Spaniard blood in me, but this motherfucker's a cunt. And he's a cunt. He gets fucking favorable matchups like these. I know he's going up to 170. Props to him on that. I will give him some brownie points on that. You're finally fighting at your fucking natural weight class, you fucking cunt. Finally. But this motherfucker's still 5'11" with a 74-inch reach, bro. Vicente Luque is significantly still smaller than Joel Alvarez. And this is a favorable matchup for Joel. I think he's going to kill Luque, unfortunately. I hope Luque gets the upset, but hopes cannot happen. Joel is a good fighter. He is good at beating up on old motherfuckers and good at these favorable matchups. So I think they're going to continue to feed him a lamb in this one. I hope they actually give him tougher matchups this time. We'll have to see what happens here. But I got Joel Alvarez. I think he's going to fucking kill Luque, either first or second. I actually think what Alex hopes for it to happen, I think it's going to happen in the first round, the first few minutes in the fight. I think he's just going to destroy fucking Luque. I think Luque's chin's done. I think he's overall cooked. I hope he does show up as the old Luque and just somehow, some way gets a win over Joel Alvarez, because I'm not the biggest Joel Alvarez fan. I think he just beats up on old fighters and gets favorable matchups, but it could change if he does get a few good wins here and there. But I do think he's a good fighter to watch. So I think this will be a fun fight to watch, but I think it's going to be murder. I don't think it's going to be fun at all. I got him first round KO.
Yeah, I think Alex and Mike said pretty much a majority of what needs to be said in this matchup. I've been higher on Joel Alvarez more than most. You look at his last couple losses. I mean, it's what's that Kazakhstan lightweight? What was his name? Drawing a blank. What is his name?
Demiris Magulov.
Yes, Demiris Magulov, 100%. He lost a decision in that one, and then he got smashed by Arman Sarukian in a brutal performance from Arman Sarukian. That's probably, to this day, still, in my opinion, his best performance in the UFC. But outside of that, man, I mean, Joel Alvarez beats everybody put in front of him. The only critique I could really give is he tries to, like, his takedown defense is not good. He entertains the bottom guard and the jiu-jitsu game of his offense a lot more than I would like him to. Because on the feet, I really do think he has a problem. I think he's got great calf kicks. I think he's got good reach. The lighter man skill coming from the lightweight division, now fighting at welterweight. This will not be the finished product of a welterweight Joel Alvarez in terms of properly bulking up to the weight class and really final form, so to speak. But nonetheless, he's in good shape. He's making the cut from 155. I think not having that drastic of a weight cut to 170 will just do wonders for Joel. I think we'll see an untapped potential there in terms of his gas tank and durability. But I mean, Luque, ever since the knockout of Jeff Neal, he just simply hasn't been the same fighter. The hardcores know him for his carnage and his chaos prior to that knockout, but ever since then, you know, the RDA fight, how did he win that fight? He was able to be the bigger man. He was able to impose his size and frame in the clinch. He was able to grapple RDA for the most part of that fight. The Themba Gorimbo fight, he was just the better overall fighter. He was the more technical striker. But the Joaquin Buckley fight didn't go his way. He quit. Against a certain tier of competition, he can get away with it, like an RDA, a Themba Gorimbo. But when he fights a Joaquin Buckley, when he fights a Jeff Neal, shit goes south. I think Joel Alvarez is more cut from this cloth in the welterweight division than the likes of an RDA or a Themba Gorimbo. I think Joel Alvarez on paper just has about every single fucking advantage you could think of. I'm seeing him recreate what he did to Thiago Moises. That's what I'm envisioning in my head. I think he's just going to press up on Luque, don't give him any respect whatsoever, and back him up to the fence and bully him into a TKO. I think he's going to copy and paste what he did to Thiago Moises, truth be told. He can win this any way he wants. I could see him submitting Luque. I could see him knocking out Luque. I could see him winning a decision if Luque survives that long, but I don't think he does. I'll go with the first round TKO. I think he is just going to literally, the fight starts, he presses forward, he bullies him up against the fence, the fight's over. That's it. Luque should quit at the slightest sign of adversity, because if he doesn't, Joel Alvarez is literally going to murder him. So I'm going to go with Joel Alvarez first round TKO. El Fenomeno.
Yeah, that's going to be a murder. Moving on to a fight that's slightly less of a murder, I guess. Co-main event, Davison Figueiredo versus Montel Jackson. You know, I might pick Figgy if he didn't blow his knee out like 4 months ago. It has not been long. It was, I believe it was in June, which is like what? That is 4 months ago. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. That's terrible. I guess it wasn't as bad as we thought. You know, there's some moments in fights where, like, Kevin Holland snaps Mikhailo Oleksiejczyk's arm, and then Mikhailo Oleksiejczyk is back in there a couple weeks later, or a month later. It's not as bad as we thought. Maybe it was just a dislocation or a tweak or, you know, a partial tear. I don't know. But regardless, like, 4 months off a knee injury, man, like, I don't like it. I don't like it. This isn't like a drop foot thing, like where it was nerves or if it was anything else. Like, something tore. Something in your knee tore. And I don't like that if you're going to be fighting a guy with as much footwork and movement and at the distance and range that Montel Jackson fights at. If you're Figueiredo, you need to be able to close that distance with your own footwork and with your own explosivity. If you don't have your legs with you, I can't pick you to do that. I can't pick you to really even shoot a good takedown almost. Like, I'm sure Figueiredo can get takedowns. He's better in that way than Montel Jackson is, and I think that's what he's got to do this fight. But I think his takedown game is going to be heavily neutered because of his takedowns, because of his knee. I don't like that at all, especially for an older fighter that's going to be small, that's going to already have to deal with the reach disadvantage of Montel. I think Montel is going to be on his bike all night, sticking the jab out and fighting behind his range. And a neutered Figueiredo with the knee isn't going to have the explosivity needed because of his knee get in range. And that kind of just seals the fight for me. Maybe there's a round where he gets a takedown and wins it, but I think a lot of it is just going to be Montel out footworking, out jabbing, out ranging Figueiredo. And Figueiredo just simply won't be able to get in that range because of his knee. I'm going to keep saying it because it's true. I can't get over that it was 4 months ago. And Montel Jackson's a guy that's been here for a while. He's paid his dues. To be fair, he only fights like once a fucking year. And that's like been his whole career. He just fights once a year. But recently, he's been like active for him. You know what I mean? He's been fighting like 2 times a year. Like 3 times, maybe within 12 months, thank God. Holy shit, it's a miracle. But Montel Jackson's got good hands. He's fast. He's not a rookie. This isn't a game of like him being inexperienced. He's fought Ricky Simone. He's fought other people. The grappling's always been the thing to give him the hardest problem. So maybe Figueiredo can do it. Grappling is what he has to do. But I like Montel in this fight. I think I don't see him as a champion or as a top contender, but I think with an older Figueiredo that's a bit neutered, I think he can get it done. Just popping that jab out and using his superior reach. I'm gonna say 29-28. I'm gonna say split decision 29-28. Very clearly 29-28 Montel, but one of the judges goes rogue. Gives like Figueiredo 30-27. But it's going to be, all the other judges will have it 29-28 Montel. Clearly.
That's tough. This one's very tough. I really want to pick Davis and Figueiredo. I really want to. I like Davis Figueiredo. I think he's a very good fighter. It's just hard to pick. It's hard to pick him, bro. It's really hard to pick him now. He's getting older. He's getting injured more. He's getting touched up more. This is very scary to go against a very good matchup in fucking Montel Jackson. Montel Jackson's very good, man. He's very fucking good. He hits hard. He's got good KO power. He's good striking, decent grappling. Man, you know what? I'm gonna let my nuts hang on this one. If Ricky Simone can get you down, I'm gonna go with Figueiredo here on this one. I can see Montel Jackson win. I really can. But I'm gonna go with Figueiredo. I think he's gonna win by decision. I think he can get Montel down. Daniel Marcos was having some success on the ground, but he was getting his ass whooped the whole fight on the feet. I get that. It could happen here. Figueiredo could get chin, but I think the experience could help him here. I think the experience could help him, and I think he could get him down. I really do think he can get him down here. Figueiredo, I think Figueiredo can win this one here. I can see where I get oh, Mike, you're fucking retarded. You picking Figueiredo, old as shit. Da, 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 da. I get that, but I think he can win this one, man. I really can. I think he can. I think he can get him down. I think he can hang. If he doesn't get knocked out, or if he doesn't re-injure his fucking... If he can't re-injure that same injury he had against Corey, he should be fine. I'm going to go with Figueiredo here. I think he could get this one done. I'm going to go with a 29-28 decision.
Good fight in the co-main event of the bantamweight division. My favorite flyweight of all time, Deiveson Figueiredo, Deuce de Guerra. Big fan. You know, he pretty much carried the flyweight division when Cejudo and DJ and them left. He really was the flyweight division. But now at bantamweight, you know, he's had some losses, had some wins. He loses to the upper elite of the division. He loses to like Piotr Jan and Corey Sandhagen. He's beating like Rob Font, Cheeto Vera, and he has one other good win at bantamweight. I forget who it is. Oh yeah, Cody Garbrandt. He's beating like that tier of opponent in bantamweight, and he's losing to the best of the best. Montel Jackson, not a small guy for the division, like 5'10", 5'11", 75-inch reach for the weight class is absurd. That's 3 inches longer than like O'Malley, so like that's insane reach at 135. That's fringe middleweight reach at 135, honestly. Montel Jackson, good boxing, good hands. Only 2 decision losses in his career to the likes of Brett Johns and Ricky Simone, who have a very wrestle-heavy game plan. And I think if you're Deiveson Figueiredo, that's the name of the game in this one. I don't think playing the striking game is in your best interest. I think straight punches are money for Montel in this one. I'm a big Figgy fan, but I can't ignore the decline in his game. I think he needs to grapple in this fight. I think if he stays on the feet, the calf kicks ain't going to be enough. I feel like the reach is so drastically in favor of Montel. It's not even funny. Power, you know, you're always going to have to give Figueiredo the edge in that regardless of the opponent. But, man, Montel can crack too. Don't get it twisted. And with that reach, the accuracy, the technique, and the power combined together, I think it's a recipe for disaster on the feet. I really do feel as though grappling is the go-to for Figueiredo in this one. And if he doesn't get it, I think he's in serious trouble. 8 knockouts and 15 wins. I love Figgy, but I think this is a horrible matchup at 135 for him, man. Drastic physical advantages in favor of Montel Jackson. I think the straight punches are money. If he can't get the grappling going, I think it's downhill, and it's only going to get worse for Figgy. I'm going to say a TKO, and I'm going to say like he re-aggravates the eye that was messed up in the 4th Moreno fight, where they had to do a doctor stoppage. I think the jab is just going to be money for Montel. Figgy has a bad habit of like gambling with his head movement. He likes to slip a lot and like try to look for shots off the counter like that. That's just not going to work here. I could see Montel winning a decision in 15 minutes, and I could see a knockout. I'm feeling bold. I just think this is a horrible style matchup for Figgy if he can't grapple. I'm going to go with a torn between 2nd and 3rd. I'll go with a 2nd round TKO for Montel Quick Jackson, where in the 1st round he's pumping the jab, he's landing at the guard of Figgy, it's bothering him, the jab's starting to get to his eye a little bit. He feels a little reckless. He charges forward, maybe engages in a grappling exchange up against the fence. Never really gets the takedown. Never really gets his hands but wrapped around the waist of Montel. They kind of just fight and jockey for that 50-50 position for like the majority of the 1st round. The round ends. Figgy feels like it's close, but I may have lost that round, so I really need to win it back. And upon charging forward, I feel like he's going to get countered and he's going to pay the price. I'm going to go with a Montel Jackson 2nd round TKO. I don't rule out decision, but I just think, again, this is just a really bad style matchup. Size, power, speed, technique, reach. I mean, on the feet, this is a disaster waiting to happen for Figgy, in my opinion. So I'm going to go to Montel Jackson 2nd round TKO.
Moving on to the main event of the evening. A fight to call. Similar but different to Figueiredo. Charles Oliveira's coming off of an injury, if you want to call it that. But unlike Figueiredo, who actually had an injury to like his knee, Olivera got knocked out. He got brain damage. I honestly think the knee injury and having a physical like bone or ligament injury is worse than being knocked out in an MMA setting, because then you're neutered. You won't be able to fight the same way you normally do. Will Olivera get knocked out by one punch from Gamrot? Probably not. That might have been a threat against Fiziev, even though he doesn't even have a lot of power in his hands. At least not a lot of knockouts. I'm retarded. Stim. But anyway, Olivera is he's experienced. Gamrot's experienced as well. Olivera's experience is at a different level, though. He's fought some of the best close to their prime. He's fought a very good version of Gaethje, a very good version of Poirier. He, of course, fought prime Islam and lost. He fought prime Michael Chandler, if you want to call it that. Olivera, we had a lot of fun moments with Olivera. And he's proven in moments after his career that he can still get it done. Not after his career, but after his title run. Like against Shabbat Neal or Michael Chandler in the rematch. I think, there's an aggression about Olivera that's hard to deal with. And if RDA can drop you, Olivera can as well. And like I was saying earlier about the knockouts and the injuries, that is a threat, I think, about anybody else against Olivera, but not Gamrot. I think Olivera's short turnaround is actually a reason, because he wants to turn around very quickly to kind of just change the image in fans' heads about him. I don't think Olivera wants to leave fans with that knockout in their heads with Ilya knocking him out and destroying him. I think to me that shows like a motivation and like an urge to come back, and like he doesn't think he's out yet. He's still motivated, wants to continue. He has something to prove. He's in front of his hometown fans. Olivera isn't quite out yet. I think his chin has honestly been gone longer than Ilya knocking him out. Let's be real. That was a bad knockout, but he's taken a lot of damage over the years, and dropped a lot of times, taken a lot of big shots. He's already had a not good chin. If Gamrot hurts him, I'd be surprised. But I think on the feet, it'll be all day Olivera early until Gamrot gets that takedown and holds him down, probably for the rest of the round. Because Olivera has a tendency to just lay on bottom and retain position. But Gamrot is he's really, really not dangerous. I think Charles Olivera will have a hard time submitting him. I think his Gamrot's submission defense is good. But I think if you could put Arman in certain positions like that, you can also do that to Gamrot. And I think Arman would be harder to sub than Gamrot. I think Gamrot has more of a submission offense to him than Arman does. But really, Gamrot, I don't see him as a physical grappler. He's kind of a chain cardio wrestler. I think Olivera, in those like chain cardio positions, you got to kind of go to the clinch. And I think Olivera does really well there, can pull for guillotines. Anyone else, that's a stupid idea. But when you're Olivera fighting somebody like Gamrot, that's a good opportunity. Because Gamrot's so good at getting the takedowns, and Olivera really has shit takedown defense, for being real. But you said earlier, Tony, it was like 56%, which is honestly better than I thought it'd be. I thought it'd be, 20 or 30 or 15, something bad. But I think Olivera in the clinch can make damage that changes this fight. I don't think Gamrot's as dominant of a top guy as people think. He's more of a cardio chain wrestler, and I think that gives Olivera opportunities to get his knees to the body off, his elbows up top. And I think, if that's Olivera in place of RDA landing that shot, he might finish him. Like, if he gets him rolling around like that, Olivera's an excellent finisher once you're hurt. And I think, Gamrot himself doesn't have the best defense, and I also doesn't think have the best chin. I think he's going to hurt Gamrot at some points and put him down, and I think when he does that, he'll be able to get a finish. If that doesn't happen, we're in for a boring, long night. But I think he's very available to be hit on the feet, Gamrot is, and I think Olivera's power is something, and he's got some weapons. He's very good in the clinch, where I think they will be at a lot of points in this fight, and I think that's what will pay dividends for Olivera. I think there's a chance of a submission, but I'm going to say Olivera second round TKO. After a lot of knees to the body, couple big shots go through, drops Gamrot, gets the TKO finish. Olivera, second round TKO, clinch.
Tough fight for sure. Main event, Brazil. Charles Oliveira's back in Brazil, back from getting his fucking head exploded in by Ilia Topuria. Everybody fucking knows. Everybody knows. Maybe y'all don't know. These gentlemen know. I fucking despise Mateusz Gamrot. That motherfucker's style is gay as shit. I would rather watch a Marab fight. Especially after what happened last weekend. I would rather watch a fucking Marab fight. 110 fucking % would rather watch Marab fight. But I am not going to be fully biased into this. I know it's short notice. Charles can win. I know there is no threat into hurting Charles Oliveira into this fight. But, strong but, huge but, I don't like how he does on the ground. Like, when he fights a high-level wrestler, he struggles. I don't like that. And he allows takedowns. Every time when he fights a grappler, bro, and it's not even just grapplers. He does this with strikers when he tries to strike with them too. Like with Ilia. He tried to strike with Ilia. Some fucking reason he decided to box with him. I don't know what in his right mind. Charles is fucking retarded is what I'm trying to get at, man. Like, he's fucking stupid. I can so see him just pulling guard on Gamrot for some reason and accepting the ground. Everybody's gonna boo Gamrot, throw shit at him probably after this fight. I'm going to pick Gamrot, as y'all know, and I think it's going to be a 48-47 decision. Maybe it might be a 49-46. I can see him just holding Olivera against the fence and just do fuck all. I hate Mateusz Gamrot style. I think it's gay enough for him to win against Charles. I do think Charles can win this. I don't want to say like this is a dominant win for Gamrot. It is not. Short notice hurts Gamrot. Full camp Olivera. But I don't like that Olivera didn't want this fight, mainly because he wanted to fight a striker because he trained for a striker. I don't like that if he fully prepared. I don't know if he fully prepared for Gamrot in this camp because he didn't want to fight Gamrot at first. So I'm guessing he just took this because he was probably forced to take this. And I could just so see him trying to grapple with Gamrot and it would fail horribly. I hope Olivera wins for his sake. I'm rooting for him. Shit, I picked against Uncle I if Alex won. Maybe I can have some more happiness, but I know my year's been shit lately. My Ravens are ass. Everything's just been shit for me. Fuck all. So I know that I'm not gonna have it. That was my sample of happiness last weekend. Alex Pereira winning was my sample of happiness. Now we're about to go back to reality, and Charles Oliveira is gonna get fucking raped, bro, by decision. I'm praying that Gamrot loses. Please. If there's any more happiness left for me, I just want Charles Oliveira to win. Please. Knock this fucking cunt out, please. We cannot have this.
Main event of UFC Rio. Great main event from a grappling credentials standpoint. I mean, this is a fantastic fight in the lightweight division. Former champion Charles Olivera coming off of his title loss to potentially the greatest fighter of all time in Ilia Topuria, and Mateusz Gamrot coming off of a nice win against Ludovic Klein. These are two very high-level grapplers. Charles Olivera has the most submissions in UFC history. Mateusz Gamrot, a former double champion of KSW. This is a really good fight. And both are very experienced. Both have well over 28 plus pro fights. Oliveira's got like 40 some fights. Gamrot's got like 28. Both are just, they've been there. They've been through the highest of highs of the sport, and they've been through the lowest of lows. Oliveira's been there at a more UFC level, but Mateusz Gamrot was a double champ in a regional promotion that is a very high level as well in KSW. As for the fight, if I'm Charles, I really think I would stay on the feet. I think your best chance is to try to knock out Mateusz Gamrot. I feel as though Mateusz Gamrot is the better wrestler in this matchup. He has the better gas tank in this matchup. And I actually feel as though that he's the better overall grappler in this matchup. I trust his wrestling and his scrambles and his transitions more than I trust Charles's. I feel like Charles is very reliant on bottom. He doesn't really do real work on top. I think there's a more likelier chance Gamrot gets takedowns than Charles does. I feel like if you're Charles, you really want to attack the feet. You want to use your Muay Thai style, want to get knees in the clinch to the body. The clinch and the feet, that is what I would highly recommend for Charles Olivera in this matchup. I think your best bet is to attack him at range in the pocket, on the feet, and when you guys get close, elbows and knees off the break in the clinch. I think Gamrot is going to be able to get takedowns at will in this fight. I don't really trust Charles Oliveira's takedown defense. I feel like Gamrot, hailing from American Top Team, they'll cook up a good game plan and mix in the takedowns and the striking, where it'll create a bit of a game where Charles is going to have to guess whether he's striking or he's going to shoot. And Mike said it best: when Charles fights high-level grapplers, man, it's not as easy as everybody thinks it makes out to be. He does have the most submissions in the UFC, and yes, he has got a great guard. But Arman showed us you can get out of takedowns. There's been other guys that you wouldn't think would be able to hang with Charles Oliveira on the ground in his career, but they've done it. The likes of Anthony Pettis, Ricardo Lamas, who have 2 submission victories over Charles Oliveira. Now I know that was 145 Charles Oliveira. That wasn't the finished product of what he would become in his peak, in his prime, but nonetheless, it's something that's on the resume. Mateusz Gamrot's never been finished in his career by knockout or submission. All 3 of his losses are by decision. He had a close loss to Hooker, he had a close loss to Guram Kuchiteledze, and he lost to Benil Dariush. I feel as though Gamrot is going to do what everybody thought Benil Dariush was going to do in their fight with Charles Oliveira. I'm torn between a submission and a decision. Hell, I could even see a world where Gamrot's getting so much dominant top time that he just starts throwing strikes, and Charles Oliveira eventually gets to a point where he doesn't defend himself, and I could even see a late ground and pound TKO. I really do feel as though Gamrot could win this fight in all 3 ways. Obviously, I'm going with Gamrot. As for the method, I'll be bold. I'm going to go with a championship rounds ground and pound TKO for Mateusz Gamrot in Rio de Janeiro. I feel as though that the output, the cardio is going to melt Charles Oliveira. The top pressure is going to melt Charles Oliveira. I feel as though Gamrot's going to attempt multiple submissions to where it's going to get to a point where he realizes, okay, Charles isn't going to let me go for the choke, so I'm just going to have to start raining shots from on top. And I feel like it's going to be probably middle 5th round where after so many takedown attempts, so many grinding exchanges up against the fence, so much just work would have been put in that Charles will just fatigue and get to a point where he can't defend himself anymore. And I'm going to go with a Mateusz Gamrot 5th round ground and pound TKO, just to unanswered shots, no defense being played, and the ref's going to have to step in. I think the Gamer will beat Do Bronx in Rio de Janeiro, and I am fading both Brazilians in the main and the co-main event in Rio. Both former champs, I think, get finished in Rio. Yeah. I can see Gamrot winning all 3 ways. I could see a dominant decision, I could see a submission, I could see ground and pound TKO to unanswered shots. I'll go with that one.
I don't think he's finishing Charles. He hasn't finished anybody precisely in years. And his last sub win, it was by Jeremy Stevens, and Jeremy Stevens sucks.
That's fair to say. But I think he'll get it this time. I think he wants to make a statement.
I hope he fucking loses, bro. I hope he loses. Fuck Gamrot.
Well, thank you for watching our podcast. It's been UFC Fight Night Brazil, Olivera Gamrot with your boys Tony, Alex, and Mike. Wartime MMA podcast signing out.